Hello and welcome to In Focus Kentucky. I'm Mario Anderson. Each week on this program, we'll take a look at issues that matter to you right here in the Bluegrass State. We'll talk to the lawmakers, community organizers, and people like you who help shape those policies. On today's show, we're celebrating Black History Month, a time where we honor achievements made by African Americans and highlight their many contributions in United States history. The celebration was originally called Negro History Week, created in 1926 by a group of prominent African Americans, including historian Carter G. Woodson. Later in 1976, President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month during the United States bicentennial, and since then, every U.S. president has devoted the month of February to celebrating Black history. Today, we'll introduce you to some of Kentucky's most important African American figures to discuss what Black History Month means to them. We'll travel to Louisville to speak with Metro Councilwoman Sherry Bryan Hamilton. Hamilton is currently serving her fourth consecutive term as Councilwoman of Louisville's 5th District. We'll tell you how Hamilton's family has made its mark throughout African American history and specifically the Civil Rights Movement. Also on this week's show, we'll introduce you to P.G. Peoples, President and CEO of the Lexington Urban League, a group that has been empowering the Black community since 1968 and has served as an advocate on important issues that include minority business inclusion and affordable housing. But first, we meet Louisville Metro Councilman David James, a former police officer who is now serving as the Metro Council President, a position he was elected to this past January.
Every day is fun. I wake up every morning, say a prayer, and go forward.
David James is just a few weeks into his new role as president of Louisville's Metro Council, a position that he was unanimously voted into by his fellow council members.
My schedule, I always tell people that since I've become the president, my iPhone calendar's broken.
Along with the one-year term of Metro Council President, David James represents the 6th District, which covers parts of Old Louisville and the California neighborhood, a position he has held for 7 years.
And so as the president, I spend time focusing on the district, but also focusing on running this building and the staff and dealing with the executive branch across the street and the more community-wide issues that we have to deal with.
James says while he puts in long hours each day, he enjoys every moment that he's able to serve the people of Louisville.
It's different each day. I start the day out coming in and talking to my assistants and aides about what's the hot button for the morning, and then generally starts off with some meetings. Then I try to get out into my district number 6, and drive around. I try to do that every day to see if I see anything that really needs adjusting or needs attention from the city.
Before he served on the Metro Council, President James says he felt empowered to enter public service after growing up in the 1960s during a time when racial tensions were high.
And so I saw on television the sights of police officers and dogs and fire hoses and that whole scenario. And so I decided that at that point that I was going to become a police officer because I didn't want police officers to do things like that to people that look like me. And so at the same time, I would hear and see the speeches of people like Martin Luther King. And so that was a driving force in my life to try to follow some of those thoughts.
As a result of that driving force, David James celebrates Black History Month by continuing the work of those that came before him.
I enjoy the opportunity to help people and break down doors, as they say, and try to stir the pot a little bit to create change in our community. And so I enjoy that very much. And so it's always important to stay focused and to try to make sure that everybody in our community is treated the same. And so I try to always keep that in mind in the public policy decisions that I make.
And Louisville Metro Council President David James' term as president goes through the end of the year. Also today, we head to Richmond, Kentucky to have a conversation with Dr. Ogechi Anawu of Eastern Kentucky University, African American Studies Department. The professor shared with us why it's important to educate students about African American history in the classroom. EKU is just one of several universities across Kentucky that offers multiple courses for students to learn the history of African and African American culture.
One thing that we do is to provide a fundamental knowledge about the contributions made by black people to human civilizations. And this is something that is always missing in many societies. And it is important because a lot of misconceptions exist about Africa and African people. And the essence of our courses is to help to dispel many of the stereotypes and myths surrounding black experience, whether in Africa or in diaspora.
Dr. Ogechi says this program benefits students not only with class credit, but with an opportunity to learn black history.
What we do in AFA is to provide students a lens to use black history, black culture, black experience as a lens to fully understand what it means to be human, what it means to be interconnected and interrelated.
Definitely, I've gained a lot of knowledge that I wasn't aware of before, and a lot of stereotypes and misperceptions about Africa that I've learned, and it's been worth it taking this class.
I thought it was very interesting. I have a friend that actually came from Africa. She was adopted, and I just think it's interesting to learn more about her heritage.
Diversity is such a big thing that a lot of people struggle with. So this is definitely a gateway to diversity and to welcome a more open mind.
Dr. Ogechi says throughout the entire school year, about 500 students are enrolled in the program, and while celebrating Black History Month is important, he believes the history should be taught throughout the entire school year.
Well, I don't even think that having 1 month to celebrate black history is sufficient, even though the month is just symbolic. I believe that the history of all societies should be celebrated every month.
To me, black history is recognizing and bringing light to accomplishments that we've done and effects that we've had on the world and society, and just bringing light, recognizing those things.
Coming up, we take you to Louisville City Hall to talk with Metro Councilwoman Sherry Bryan Hamilton about her family's history fighting for civil rights. Next on In Focus Kentucky.